July the 18th, 2024, and I hope everybody's having a great day so far. Today I want to talk about trying to quit drinking and the struggle that comes along with that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are going to be watching this video that are in the middle of trying to quit drinking right now. And they're dealing with all the cravings and all the awful stuff that comes along with trying to stop. Because when you initially try to quit drinking, it's not easy. It's a real struggle. It really is. And the reason I'm talking about this today is yesterday I was talking to my wife, and we were just having a conversation about alcohol. And I don't remember even how it got brought up, but my wife said to me that she remembered a time in the past when I had tried to quit drinking, and she remembered during that period of time that one instance during that period I was like crouched down on the kitchen floor bawling, crying because I wanted to drink so bad. And she just remembered how hard that was for me trying to stop. And I wanted to drink so bad that I was literally in tears. And I remember back in those days and how hard it was trying to stop. Because like I said, it's not easy, especially if it's something that you've been using for quite some time. And I drank for years. Drinking was not something I just did on the weekend or that I just did at night. Drinking was something I did all day, every single day. There wasn't a moment that went by really that I did not drink unless I was trying to stop. It was so ingrained into my life that I really did feel like I had just lost like a loved one or like my best friend or something. I just didn't know how to carry on my life without the alcohol in it. I used alcohol for so many different reasons. And looking back on it now and thinking about, the reasons why I drank and why I drank the way that I did. Initially when I was younger, the first time I got drunk, I remember thinking to myself that first time, because I remember the first time I got drunk. I was drinking Mad Dog 2020. I've talked about this a bunch of times on here. I remember that warm, fuzzy feeling and just that overall feeling of all my cares went away. Anything stressful in my life went away. I was happy. And I'm not generally a very happy-go-lucky type of person. I'm just not. And when I drank, I became that. And, looking back on it now, I really believe that, that first time was really all it took for me. Because once I got that feeling, I really didn't want to let that go. And, I've been a problem drinker since I was young. Although I wasn't drinking hard liquor back then, I was still drinking more than I should have, more frequently than I should have. I was always the one, if I went to a party or something, I was always the one that just got, blackout drunk, where everybody else would just have a couple of drinks or whatever. I was always the one that overdid it. I always overdid it. I can't think of a time that I didn't really overdo it. Now, back then it didn't take me much to get there, but I always got to that point when I drank. And I just wanted to unplug. I wanted to unplug from everything, and I just wanted to feel numb. And as time progressed, that feeling of feeling numb is something that I fell in love with, and I wanted to feel that feeling all the time. It wasn't something that I did here and there or just on the weekends or Friday night or whatever it was. It was something that became a part of my life, and it was something that was, it was so much a part of my life. It was like anything else, like sleeping or eating or brushing your teeth or taking a shower every day. That it was part of my life, my everyday life. And when I tried to remove that from my life, I was lost, and I didn't know what to do. Not to mention the cravings that came along with that, the pacing back and forth, that constant feeling of I just want to go to the store and get a bottle and all this will go away. And I struggled many times. I tried to quit so many times, and I was never successful. I think the most that I ever got was 2 weeks. I really don't remember. I remember this one time, I've talked about this before, but we had gone to Washington, D.C. We actually went to West Virginia. We were on a 2-week-long trip. I was on vacation. I was working as a chef at the time. We had gone up to West Virginia to visit with my wife's family, and then we spent a week up there, and then we went to Washington, D.C. after that. But while we were in West Virginia, I had been binge drinking like really hardcore leading up to going on that vacation, and then when we got there, I was binge drinking the whole time there as well. We were only there for a couple days, and next thing you know, I started getting this really bad back pain, really bad stomach pain. I started throwing up, and I felt horrible, and I wasn't sure what it was, but I decided to stop drinking because I figured that it probably had something to do with my alcohol consumption. And my family were out. They had gone. We were at my father-in-law's house during this period of time, and my family were out running around, going out to eat, going shopping, going and doing stuff, visiting with the rest of her family. My wife's family is from West Virginia. They were out running around. I had to stay at the house and lay in the bed the whole entire time because I felt so horrible. And I was soaking in the bathtub because my back hurt so bad, my stomach hurt so bad. I stayed in the bathtub basically for a couple days at my father-in-law's house. And I kept telling everybody, I think the bed isn't any good. That's why my back's hurting. They went and got me a heating pad. I laid in the bed with that heating pad, tried using that, and just, it was horrible. I was sick. And looking back now, I was in the middle of pancreatitis. But my point is that I decided to stop and went through really bad withdrawals during that period of time. And we were supposed to go to Washington, D.C., but we had to hang out for like another day or two at my father-in-law's house because I was so ill. And I was going through such bad withdrawals during that period of time. I was having really bad sweats, puking all over the place, kept getting like cold chills, then I would get hot, I was shaking, I couldn't think straight. It was horrible, and my stomach was just a total wreck. But anyway, we stuck around there for a little bit longer, and then we went to Washington, D.C., and I didn't drink the rest of the time that we were in D.C., and it was horrible while we were there. I remember the whole time that we were there, I just kept thinking about having a drink. That's all I wanted to do, but I didn't do it. I refrained. And I remember just being miserable that whole entire time that we were in D.C. I didn't want to be anywhere we were going. We were going to a bunch of the Smithsonians and stuff like that, and it was just a real struggle, especially being in the middle of, detoxing like that, and I'm out walking around in the middle of D.C. with my family on vacation. It was a horrible experience, and I dealt with that. I went through all that, out of town, not in a comfortable place. We were in a 2-bed hotel room, and I'm talking about, we were in the middle of DC. We got like the most affordable hotel that we can get, and I don't remember the name of the hotel that we were in, but the room was extremely small, and we were all there. It was all 5 of us, me and my wife and my 3 children in this little teeny tiny hotel room with 2 little beds in it. And I'm going through withdrawal. It was a good time with my family, but it was horrible because I was going through withdrawal during that period of time, and I just felt bad. And I was in the middle of pancreatitis too. And I dealt with all of that up there. Came back home. We had been in DC for about a week, so I dealt with all that stuff. Come back home. I remember getting back home, and I was so proud of myself. I remember the day. It was like 2 days after we had gotten back. I remember asking my daughter if she wanted to go to the grocery store with me, and this was that period of time too that I was really fearful of driving because my anxiety would get so bad. But I realized that after I had stopped drinking for a period of time, my anxiety started to go away. And I remember one day asking my daughter, do you want to go to the grocery store with me? And she said, yeah. And it's on like the main road through our town, which is like a 4-lane road. And I thought that I was going to have really bad anxiety. Got on the road and I realized that it wasn't that bad. And I remember going to the grocery store, getting all the groceries, coming back home. I was so proud of myself. I was like, look at this. My anxiety's starting to go away. I'm starting to feel better. I remember going and meeting up with my dad, and we went on a motorcycle ride one day, and we rode around the whole entire day. And like, I was actually out doing things again. I was experiencing my life again. I had my life back, and I had dealt with all this stuff. I mean, it was so horrible. I mean, I remember those moments of pacing back and forth, feeling so bad. And I went through all that stuff, got back home, and then hung out for like another week being sober. And I was really starting to enjoy my life. And then the thought came in one day. I remember exactly what happened. I remember the day that it happened. The thought just came in my head one day, and I said, I can do this. I can have a couple beers, and I think I'll be okay. I've made it this far. I'm so proud of myself. I made it 2 weeks, or however long it was. I'm pretty sure it was 2 weeks. And I was so proud of myself. And I kept telling myself, I can have a couple beers. This time I've got control. This time is different. This time I am not going to overindulge. I was so proud of myself. I told my wife, I'm only going to drink beer. That's all I'm going to drink. I promise I won't drink anything else other than beer. My wife hesitantly, she wasn't in full agreement, but she said, okay, if that's all you're going to drink is just beer, then okay. And no more than a 6-pack a day. And I was like, sure, no problem. That's it. Went to the store, got myself a 6-pack of beer. I did not get just regular domestic beer. I had to get, the 11%, whatever it was. It was super high alcohol percentage beer. Got a 6-pack of that. Went back home. I remember getting the beer and everything. I remember driving to the gas station. I looked all through the beer stuff. I was looking for the most high percentage alcohol beer that I could find. And I found it. I bought 1 6-pack. As soon as I got in my car, I remember sitting there. I took my lighter, popped the top on the bottle, and I slammed that first beer before I even left the parking lot at the gas station. On the way home, I drank another one. By the time I'd gotten back home, it probably wasn't 30 minutes. Those other 4 beers were gone. 6-pack gone already. It was gone. So what do you think I did? I went right back to the gas station again. This time I needed to go get cigarettes. But what I did was I didn't let my wife know that I drank that whole entire 6-pack. I went back to the store, bought the same exact beer that I had been drinking before, came back with a brand new 6-pack at the house of the same exact beer and pretended like I was still drinking on that same 6-pack. And there I was, all over again, lying and being deceitful. I was already right back in it. Day one. And it wasn't even an hour into it, and I was already lying to myself. And I was lying to others. And before you know it, I finished that other 6-pack of beer. That was gone. And I passed out that night. The next day, I went to the store. I got a 12-pack of beer this time. But I didn't just get a 12-pack of beer. I stopped at the liquor store on the way home and got a bottle of vodka. Came back to the house, started making mixed drinks. I told myself I'm only going to have like 1 or 2 of these. Well, that's not the way it ended up. What ended up happening that day is that I drank a half a gallon of vodka, got entirely trashed. My wife came home from work, found me, passed out, and next thing you know, we got into this big fight. And I was right back in the grasp of alcohol again. And things never changed from there. And I just kept going. I tried to stop drinking a few times after that, but it never worked out. I remember being here at this house. We moved to this house in 2020. And we hadn't been living here very long. And my drinking had gotten completely out of control again. I mean, it was really, really, really bad. And I'd almost flipped over our tractor. I was doing some work around the property and had almost flipped it. I mean, almost, like the tractor tipped over and almost flipped over with me on it. And that scared me. And then I had just bought this tractor when we first moved here onto this property, and I was trying to clear off land and do a bunch of stuff. I was trying to make some trails through the woods. I was trying to dig some drainage ditches and stuff, working on my driveway. This place wasn't really developed. The guy built the house, and that was basically it. It was just basically a house in the middle of the woods. I've done basically everything that's out here at this point, other than build the house. But during that period of time, I just almost flipped over the tractor, and then like the next day, I was trying to dig a drainage ditch, and there's an electric pole right over here that they have a light on. And I was stupidly digging beside that electric pole, and then dug up an electric wire that was under the ground and shorted it out. I broke the electric wire with the bucket on the tractor, and I saw a huge spark come out of the ground. And I almost electrocuted myself screwing around because I just wasn't paying attention. I should have called whatever it is, 411 or whatever it is. They come out and spray all the lines that are on the ground. But once again, I was drunk. I wasn't thinking what I was doing. I was intoxicated that day. And I almost got myself electrocuted on that tractor doing that. So I'd almost flipped the tractor. Then I hit an electric line. And then, like the next day, I was on the driveway working again. And I'll never forget this day. I was trying to dig out the driveway, trying to make it look nicer, and I was digging on the right-hand side of the driveway if you're going down the driveway, and I hit our water line that comes up to our property. Water started spewing all over the place. I called my wife at work, told her what was going on. I remember it was a Friday. My wife gets off work early on Fridays. I called her and I said, I just hit this pipe. The water's spewing all over the place. I don't know what to do. I don't even know where the cutoff is for this thing. And I told her I needed her to pick me up some couplings and a new piece of pipe and some pipe glue so that I could repair it. I went down, I found the cutoff to the water supply, cut that off. She came back, and I was so upset that day because I had done so many different things on that tractor, and every single time I'd done it, I had been drinking, and I was so upset with myself for doing it. Next thing you know, I started yelling at my wife. We got into a big fight, and I tried to quit again. And that time, it didn't last very long. And I remember going through the withdrawals that time. That time was way worse than the previous time that we were in DC, or the other times I tried to quit. I ended up getting really, really ill when I tried to stop. The withdrawals that time had gotten completely out of control. I almost ended up in the hospital because they had gotten so bad. And I made it through it a few days. I think I got to about 3 or 4 days. And I remember pacing back and forth during that period of time. I just could not get comfortable. It didn't matter what I did. I could not get my mind off the alcohol. That's all I kept thinking about. Over and over and over again. I just walking back and forth, thinking about all I needed to do was go to the store and get a bottle, and all this stuff will go away. I won't have to think about this anymore, and I'll just feel better. So I did. I caved in, went back to the store, got a bottle, came back home, and there I was all over again, right there at square one, drinking again. And I continued to drink like that until I ended up getting sick and almost losing my life. And the thing is, and the reason I'm talking about this today, is that if you're trying to quit drinking right now, and you're going through the withdrawals and the struggle, and I know it's not easy at all. I know. It is probably one of the most uncomfortable feelings that you're ever going to feel. And it lasts for a while. It doesn't go away after one day. I mean, it lasts for a while. I've got a good bit under my belt, and I still think about drinking to this day. Not as much as it's nowhere near as bad as it was in the beginning stages when I stopped, but I'm still thinking about it. It still pops up in my mind basically every day. I still think about alcohol. It doesn't have as much of a grasp on me as it did back then, and because I was so controlled by my thoughts during that period of time. But my point of this is that I know how tough it is. I know how hard it is. I know how bad you feel right now, and I know how bad the struggle is. It goes away. It really does. You do have to readjust. Life's not the same anymore. You're not going to be the same anymore. I'm just going to be completely honest with you right now. You're not going to be that same person. The person you are as a drinker is not going to be the person you are sober. And life's going to feel kind of boring for a little bit. Because if you were like me, you filled all your time with drinking. That was your pastime. That's what you did for fun. Everything you did had alcohol involved in it. I remember going on camping trips, kayaking trips, all this stuff. And yeah, that stuff was really fun. But the thing I looked forward to the most was the alcohol. I was driving with a friend of mine up to the mountains one time. We were headed up there for like a week-long camping trip, and we were going to do a bunch of kayaking. I had just introduced a good friend of mine to kayaking. I was taking him up to the Chattooga River, and we were going to do this week-long kayaking trip. The whole way up there, I drank. The whole way. And my buddy was driving behind me, following me, and he said he watched me throw a beer can out the window just about every 10 minutes. I was drinking that much on the way up there. As soon as we got there, then I could really start on the hard liquor. And I remember that trip. We were supposed to kayak the whole entire time. You know how much kayaking that we actually got done? I think we went one time. The rest of the time, I spent it sleeping in my hammock at the campsite and getting completely trashed. That's all I did. And we were supposed to kayak the whole entire week. I was so excited to take him up there and show him all these really neat places up there in the mountains on the river. Places that people never get to see unless you're whitewater kayaking or rafting or whatever. And I never took him down there to show him because I spent my whole entire trip super intoxicated. That's all I did. I remember one time we started drinking first thing in the morning. And every single day that we were up there, we would take a nap at like 1 o'clock. And then sleep for a couple hours, wake up, and start doing it again. He was a big drinker, too, just like I was. And I've got pictures on my phone of the two of us on that trip still to this day. And I've got pictures of me laying in my hammock. It's the middle of the day, and I'm about to pass out because I started drinking first thing in the morning. And I would pass out, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, sleep all afternoon, wake up around dark, get up, start drinking again. We'd start cooking dinner or whatever. And I remember one day that I had done that, and these people that were camping next to us had come over, and they were hanging out with my buddy. I woke up furious. They were making noise, screamed at everybody, told those people to leave our campsite. And that's not the type of person that I usually was. I was usually really open and kind to people and nice. I mean, like if we were having, like a get-together or whatever, and especially with people that were camping beside us, I would have been nice to those people. But I woke up extremely angry and in a bad mood because they woke me up. And I screamed at everybody, told them to go. And kind of ruined the trip. And that guy and I, we weren't friends again after that trip. That was the last time we ever hung out together. But my whole entire trip got ruined because I just wanted to drink. That's all I wanted to do. It was an opportunity for me to get away. I didn't have my wife there telling me to stop drinking or fussing at me. I was all alone with a friend of mine, and I could drink as much as I want, as frequently as I wanted, and as long as I wanted to, without anybody giving me a hard time. And I remember coming back from that trip, I was so hungover the day I had to drive home. So hungover. My anxiety level was through the roof. And he gave me a phone call and said, hey man, because he was driving ahead of me. He called me and said, hey, I just went through a roadblock. I had been drinking that morning before I even left the campsite. I woke up first thing in the morning, started mixing drinks. I had to stop at a Burger King or something like that and sit inside the restaurant. I ordered myself a biscuit and like a cup of soda, and I sat in a booth at Burger King for hours trying to sober up because I was afraid, because that was the only way to get home, was to go through that roadblock. And I had to sit there. My anxiety level was through the roof. I remember feeling like I was about to pass out when I was sitting there at that Burger King. I felt horrible because I decided to get so drunk the night before and then wake up that morning and start drinking again, and my anxiety levels were through the roof. But the alcohol had so much control over me during that period of time. I finally made it home, and I remember how tough that ride was because it was like a 4-hour drive home, and I was so anxious on the way home. Finally got home, told myself, that's it, I'm not going to do this anymore. Well, that didn't last for like but a day, and I was right back at it. But once again, the point is that if you're struggling right now and you're going through this and it is just all you can think about is the bottle and how much better it's going to make you feel if you stop and go ahead and give in and get that drink or whatever it is, give it some more time. You can get your life back. I promise you, you can. You know, I say this all the time, but please speak with a doctor if you're trying to quit, because alcohol and benzodiazepines are the two drugs that can actually take your life if you stop them abruptly. It can cause serious health complications, seizures, and all kinds of stuff. Please speak to a doctor first. But if you spoke with a doctor, you're in the middle of trying to quit, you're on day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, whatever it is, I know what you're going through. I really do. And I understand how you feel right now. You feel like ants are crawling up your skin. You feel like your skin's on fire. You feel like you're ready to jump outside of your body because you feel so out of whack right now. And all you can think about is that drink and how it's going to make you feel so much better. Yeah, if you want to give in and get that drink, it will make you feel better for right now. It will. But tomorrow morning, I guarantee you, when you wake up, you're going to feel horrible about what you did. And you're going to wish that you didn't do it. Stick through it. Stick through it. It's not easy to do. But anything in this life that's worth anything to us, the most important things in our lives, we have to work for. You didn't ask to be an alcoholic. You didn't ask to be an addict. You didn't ask to be where you're at right now. I totally understand that. It's just however the circumstances worked out that you're in the boat that you're in right now. It's just the way it works. I don't know why we become alcoholics and addicts. Is it genetics? Is it what this or that? I don't know. I don't understand it all yet. I don't know. I don't think anybody quite has the grasp on this right now. All I can tell you is the circumstances worked out that you're in this position right now, and if you want to change your life for the better, stick through it. You can do it. I was a horrible alcoholic, and I still am an alcoholic. I'm just not drinking right now. And I'm not drinking today. Don't think about it as you can never have a drink again. Don't think about that. Just think about now. Make it through today. That's all you have to do. Make it through today. If you can make it through today, go to sleep. Get as much sleep as you can. I know it's not easy getting to sleep when you're in the middle of withdrawals. It's not easy. Try going for a walk. Try expending some energy. Do something. Eat a big meal. Take some melatonin. I don't know. Try something. Do whatever you can to wear yourself out enough to where you might be able to get a couple hours of sleep. Wake up tomorrow and start again. And just say, I'm not going to drink today. If it takes you just laying in your bed, watching TV all day long, if that's the only thing that you can do, just do that. Don't worry about it. Don't feel bad about the fact that you're being lazy right now. You're in the middle of one of the most difficult times in your life right now. Give yourself a break. You have to give yourself a break. Don't beat yourself up. Don't worry about that. Don't think I'm being such a lazy bum and all this kind of stuff. Who cares? You're doing the most important thing for yourself right now that you could ever do in your life. You're doing this for yourself. You're doing this for your family. You're doing this for all your loved ones. You're doing this for your friends. You're doing this for you. Stick through it. You can do it. And tomorrow, wake up and do it again. And just tell yourself, I'm just doing this today. I could have a drink tomorrow if I wanted to. You're just doing it for today. And then tell yourself that the next day. I could have a drink tomorrow if I want to, but I'm not going to drink today. You know, that helped me out so much, thinking to myself that I could have a drink if I really wanted to, but I'm not going to drink today. I'm going to make it through today. And tomorrow, if I want to drink, I'll get up in the morning, go to the gas station and get one. I'd wake up the next day and go, I'm not going to do it again today. If I want to have a drink tomorrow, same thing. And just keep doing that until it gets easier. And as time goes on, Those cravings start to go down. You start to feel a little bit more relaxed. The anxiety level starts to drop dramatically. And you start to feel better. And then you start to notice the clarity in your life. How much better you can think. You didn't wake up this morning and throw up. You didn't wake up this morning with diarrhea. You didn't wake up this morning, your stomach is just so messed up and you've got this splitting headache. And that taste of alcohol that's in, even though you brushed your teeth, you still can't get that taste out of your mouth. And you could smell it, and it's coming out of your pores as you sweat. You can smell the booze just seeping out of your body. You don't feel that today. You don't smell that today. You can tell how the bloating in your stomach is starting to come down. That pair of pants that you have been kind of tight over the past couple of months, they fit again. You can actually button those jeans back up again. It's crazy how the bloating starts to dissipate. Your face starts to shrink. Have you been noticing how bloated your faces look lately? Your bloodshot eyes, the bags under your eyes. Everything starts to clear up. That bloodshot in your eyes starts to go away. The whites start to come back. Your face starts to get thinner. Your stomach's not so bloated anymore. Your stomach doesn't hurt anymore. You don't feel nauseated every morning when you wake up anymore. So many different things happen when we finally stop. You can do this. I know you can. And I just had a delivery truck pull up here. I better get off here so I can go get this guy. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here for today. Stick through it. You can do it. I totally believe in you. Life on the other side is so much better. It doesn't last forever, I promise you that. So, with that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here for today. Remember to stick through it. I know that you can do it. Like I said, if I can, you definitely can. Guys, I'll see y'all tomorrow. I love y'all so much. Until then, I will see y'all.